listening in the class, no any sleeping in the class. It's going to be an active practice of the software, right? So the software we are going to study is MyOB. What is the meaning of MyOB? Mind your own business. So I want you all to mind your own business in the class, and I want you all to learn the software from the beginning, because we are going to start from the very beginning, from the company creation. So throughout this learning, we are going to follow one single case study. Okay. So today we are going to start an introduction about the case study, and based on the information in the case study, we are going to create our company file, right? I want you to be familiar with this case, right? Because you are going to be the accountant of this company, right? This is not just a case. This case, understanding of this case is going to go through all these 15 sessions. And also, you are going to be the accountant of this company. Therefore, you can't forget what you have learned in this case, right? Therefore, here in the LMS, under the current week, I have uploaded a PDF document called SAB Cricket Club Private Limited. The name is set as a familiar name to you. And right, this is about a cricket club. So I believe some of you are fans of cricket, and you will understand this industry. We will read the case. While reading the case, we will have to understand what is important in this case for us to create this company and to understand the business environment, right? Because within that business environment, we have to operate and we have to record all our transactions under this industry. Okay. So here we'll start reading it. We'll enjoy the story. At the same time, we will learn what is required. Okay. Hasun is the owner of SAB Cricket Club. I hope you all can open this PDF. Can you all open this PDF? Right. Kasun is the owner of SAB Cricket Club, while his good friend Priyanta is the owner of the New Central Cricket Club. So there are two separate cricket clubs. There are two owners. These are small cricket clubs that these two people are operating. And then for many years, members of these clubs have complained about the inadequate practice facilities at their respective clubs, right? So they are facing a problem. What is the problem? They don't have adequate space, adequate capacity, right? And then, but the land adjoining the club is taken up by housing and is too expensive for the club to acquire. So around this club, right, the cricket club should have a ground, right? Should have a ground. Without a ground, you can't run a cricket club. Then all the land adjoining that is taken up by housing. When it is taken up by housing, it is very difficult for you to acquire, right? People should agree to give their lands. People should be ready to offer their lands to this ground, and that even if they offer, that is going to be really expensive, right? Therefore, they have a problem of expanding the capacity of this cricket club. So that is the bigger business problem. So late in 2023, following the financial demise of a local athletic club, a large parcel of land owned by the government became available. Now there's a ground becoming available, and the thing is that was owned by government, but that was previously taken up by a local athletic club, right? I hope you understand the nature of athletic games, right? Athletic club will be having a ground which is completely different to a cricket club. Right? Cricket ground is completely different to a athletic ground. So you have running tracks and all this. But in a cricket club, you have the pitch and all different setup, right? But somehow now you have a required size of a land. And Hasun and Priyanta, with the backing of their respective clubs, put a proposal to the government to establish a cricket ground on this land. Now they found this as an opportunity. So they are going to take this land for their purpose, right? And then the council agreed to a 20-year lease on the land, so long as the ground is available to the general public. Okay, so government agreed because government land they can't sell to a private company. What they can do is they can offer it for lease. Then they have agreed to offer it for a 20-year lease, but given a condition, right? This ground should be available for the general public also. They can't restrict this entire ground for their members only. Right? There are certain sports complex that is only restricted for members. Others can't even pay and come rather than taking the membership. Right? But this has given us small limitation, but that is a restriction. It should be available for the general public as well, right? Even it's free. So Kasun and Priyantha formed a company called SAB Cricket Club Private Limited. Okay, so that is the name we have taken. It is going to be the new company that they are going to set up. Okay, and why this company is really important to you? You are going to be the accountant of this company. Okay, therefore now it's the starting point of it. They have set up it to lease the land from the government and use it for the business venture. Right? They have agreed to start that business. Under the terms of the lease, the company paid for earthwork and other improvements to the land because it was an athletic club. Now they are converting it into a cricket club. Therefore, there's a lot of earthwork required. Then that is taken up by these two partners, right? They are going to set up. And then Asun and Priyantha also installed a demountable building on the site for the sale and repair of cricket bats, sheltered area for cricketers to practice during the day, and lighting for the night practices. They are fixing a demountable building. Why they are fixing a demountable building? That is like a temporary building that you can remove. You may have seen some buildings are fixed like with steel and all that. You are fixing it. Why is that a temporary building? Demountable building? Because it's on lease, right? After 20 years, if the government agrees to continue it, that's fine. But if they don't agree, they will have to remove all these fittings after the 20 years. Right? Therefore, you are not permitted anyway to set up fixed buildings on government-owned lands. Therefore, now they are setting up. What is the purpose of setting up this demountable building? Because they are going to sell and repair cricket bats. Okay, they are going to sell and repair cricket bats. For that, they need to have a small workshop kind of thing, and then sheltered area for cricketers to practice during the day and lighting for the night. Then they are having some sheltered area for the cricketers to practice. That is indoor practices. You may have seen in certain sports clubs, right? Indoor training is there. Indoor practices you can do because you need to have a sheltered area, and also they have to have lighting and all for day and night matches. So it's even though we are just discussing it here, it's going to be a huge investment in a real case, right? And then the business earns income. Sorry, construction of the facility commenced in January 2023, and the business opened late in March 2023. Now the business is ready to be launched by March 2023. That is going to be the starting point of your business venture, right? 2023 March, you are ready to start the business. Okay, and then the business earns income from the sale of cricket bats and other cricket equipment, cricket bat repair service, fees for individual or group lessons conducted by Kasun and Priyantha on the site, and fees for the use of cricket grounds. That sentence is very, very important because that gives you a hint about what their product range is. What are the products and services they are going to offer to the members or non-members, right? So what are the products they are going to offer? So they are going to earn by sale of cricket bats and other cricket equipments, right? You will have cricket pads, you will have cricket leather balls, all that, so many cricket equipments, and you are going to sell them. Okay, so you are going to have a sales income from some material items, and then cricket bat repair service. Right? Cricket bats you can't just throw it away if you buy a branded bat. So if there's a small little damage, you can repair and buy them because branded cricket bats are a bit expensive, right? And then fees for individual or group lessons conducted by Kasun and Priyanka. These two owners are cricket coaches, right? Then they are able to conduct classes. Then there are two types of classes. One is individual classes. Let's say you individually want to learn from the beginning, or as a group. You may have seen some groups, you can get together with your friends and you can go for a lesson, right? All these are services. And then the other service, other biggest service is fee for the use of cricket ground. When any cricket match is in need of this ground, they can hire this ground for that match and they will have to pay a fee, fixed fee for the ground, right? After that, there's small additional information in the brackets. Cricketers must pay a fixed charge for the use of ground depending on the match, right? It is going to be a fixed fee for a match, right? Not for an hour, not for any other based on any other measurement. It's based on the match. For let's say for a test match, this is the amount. For the day and night match, this is the amount. Likewise, a fixed fee depending on the type of the match, right? So that is about the nature of the business and the products they are going to offer or products they are planning to offer to their customer base, right? And then Hasun and Priyanka established the business as a private company, Sab Cricket Club Private Limited, registered the business name, obtained the company registration number and registered the business for a value added tax, right? They have registered this company as a private limited company, right? In your advanced level, you learn the nature of a private limited company. What is the special nature of a private limited company compared to because these two are partners, right? These two are individuals. These two individuals got together and set up this business. But they're setting this up not as a partnership, but as a private limited company. What is the special feature of having a private limited company? Very good. Separate legal entity, right? Separate, it is having a legal personality. So you can enter into agreements in the name of the company. Not like Kasun or Priyanka, right? Kasun or Priyanka is not entering into the agreement. The company, the Cricket Club Private Limited, is entering into the contract, right? Even if there is a bankruptcy, that doesn't impact their own or personal properties, right? That will impact only the properties owned by the business. So it's running as a separate legal person, a legal entity, okay? And they have registered the business. So they have obtained the company registration and also they have registered for value added tax, VAT, right? That means for the items they are selling, they can charge VAT from the customer, and for the items they are buying, they will have to settle it. They will have to pay the VAT, and from the tax they receive from the customer, they can set it off, right? Tax liability and tax asset they can set off, and the balance tax they have to pay to the tax authority. Okay, for that they have registered for VAT. And they arrange the company finances through a Sampath Bank current account. Okay, organizing a long-term bank loan of 1.5 million. That is the starting capital they are bringing in, right? 1.5 million Sri Lankan rupees. It's a very small amount for an investment of a cricket club, but for our convenience, when we have so many zeros, it's very difficult to work with those zeros, right? Therefore, 1.5 million investment they are going to make, and it's going to be obtained by a long-term bank loan, right? They are going to take a loan from the Sampath Bank, whatever the bank that is. The bank loan is secured by mortgages over the private residences of Kasun and Priyanka. The loan was arranged to be drawn down in installments, with the proceeds to be deposited by the bank electronically to the business check account. Of course, that is how loans are anyway working. When you obtain the loan, depending on the progress of your construction or completion, they are releasing the loan step by step. right? Now there's a special feature of this loan. This loan is said to be taken by the company, but mortgages are done over the private residences of Kasun and Priyanka. Is that practically possible to take the private residences of Kasun and Priyanka? They are the owners, right? They are becoming the directors of the company. Is it practically possible to mortgage their private residencies against a loan that is taken by the private limited company? Because few minutes ago, we agreed that if this is a private limited company, whatever the loans or whatever the liabilities this company is having, only the company is liable, not the personal not the directors or the personal owners of the company, shareholders of the company, right? But here, the nature of the transaction is a bit different, right? Then, in these kind of cases, you have to understand what is the real nature of this transaction, because this is important, right? In accounting, there's a concept called substance over form. Can you remember that? There is a concept called substance over form. The meaning is the nature of that transaction is important in the accounting perspective rather than legally how it has happened, right? Because from the documents, you can show something, right? But by looking at a transaction logically, how it has happened will give you an insight what is the type of this transaction. Now, by looking at this, it seems that these individual investors, they have obtained their own personal loan and they have invested that in the company. That is why the loan is mortgaged against their private residences, right? So it is actually not a loan by the company, right? This 1.5 million is actually not a loan by the company. It's a loan by those owners and they have provided that money to the business. So this one, from the business perspective, now you are the accountant of that private limited, okay? Cricket private limited. You are not the accountant of Priyant or Kasun. Okay, so your matter is about this company. Therefore, from your point of view, 1.5 million being given to the company by Kasun and Priyant. So it's equity, right? So it's equity. You have to record on that perspective. We'll discuss it later. Today we are not going to record on it, but you have to understand how the company is financed, right? This loan, we don't have to deal about with this loan. We don't have any dealing with the bank actually. We have a dealing with the Kasun and Priyanta because it is going to be their own personal loan, right? Right. Right. So that is about the initial story of this company, right? Now, what is important to you from this case study is you have to first understand what is the industry we are going to operate and what is the company we are going to maintain records for, right? So it's going to be a sports industry, right? And it's a cricket club, and also it's a private limited company. And also, by looking at the legal requirements, this is a registered business, and also this is VAT registered business, right? They are registered for VAT. For whatever the things they are selling, they have to include VAT, and for whatever the things they are purchasing, it may contain VAT, then they can sell it off, right? And the other important thing is, what are the products and services this company is offering, right? Because nature of the business and the industry, okay, that depends on what are the products and services they are offering. They are offering both products and services. If you carefully read their product portfolio, right? They have products like cricket bats and cricket equipment and all that. And also they have services like repair service, ground hire income, right? Ground hire service, or cricket lessons. So it's a mix of retail and service. Okay. So that is the understanding you have to have, because with that understanding only we can create the company, right? So are you good with that company? Whether you like cricket or you hate cricket, you have to live in this company for all these 14 lecture sessions. Okay. So we are going to see how this company can be created, right, as a company file in the software, right? So in the next page, you are given some information, same information we discussed here in a very technical format, right? In a very technical manner, company name, company address, and all that technically is given. I'm not going to read that out. I'll show you where this information is required after opening the company file, right? Then in your desktop, in all your computers, in the desktop, you will have a small icon like a briefcase, right? An icon like a briefcase that is MyOB accounting V plus V70. Okay, that is the MyOB software package. Those who are having your own laptops, I believe you have installed the software, right? And I want you all to double click that button and open the software. Right? All right. Anyone who doesn't have this software in their computers or laptops? You don't have? Right? So this is the initial interface of the software. There are 5 buttons. Right? There are 5 buttons. So I'm going to ask a few questions. Out of these buttons, we'll start from the bottom. Last button is exit. What you can do with that button? The most difficult question. You can exit from the software, right? You can just try it. It exits the software, right? So that is the easiest thing you can do in this software. That's why I wanted to teach you the easiest thing in the software first, that you can click the exit button and exit the software. Again, open the company file, not the company file, the software, right? Okay. So that is the starting point. Why did I ask you to open the software twice on the first day itself? Even after learning for 14 weeks, there are some students, because after creating the company file, there will be a company file created in a folder, right? Even after 14 weeks, some students go and double click on that company file and trying to open the software, right? You have to, the first starting point of this software is you have to double click on the icon and open the software. Thereafter, you can open your company file through this, right? At the exam pressure, sometimes they go and try to open other documents or files in the folder to open the software. Thank you. Right. Therefore, that's why I just wanted to practice that in the first place, even though it's nothing. Right. Then in the next button, what's new? What's new is nothing to deal about, nothing to do about this accounting process. That is about the new packages or new versions of this software available for you to purchase if you are running it really in a real company. Okay, so we are not so much interested about that. That is for discovering new versions of the software, right? And then explore, this explore button, again, I'm not going to go into that. That will give you a sample company file, right? A sample company. So you can explore inside that company file. You can walk here and there to see and experience how this account set is working, right? With some given transactions, with some available data, it will give you a sample company to check and experience, right? So that is the explore button. And then the create button. This is the button you have to click first when you are using the software, right? When you are starting the software for the first time, you have to start with the create button, because with that you are going to create a new company file, right? Today is the only day you are going to start your process with the create button. Right? That's why I told you it's a continuous learning, right? Today is the only day you are going to click that create button. From next week, you will be starting with the open button because you have an already created company, right? And there are another two times you will have to start the process with create button. One is the case study based assignment. where you have to create a new company file. And the other time is the examination. On your examination, you will have to click the create button because you have to create a new company according to the information given in the paper. Okay. Okay. So today we are going to start off with this process. So we all will click this create button. Okay. So this is called company creation wizard, right? I want you to read the introduction given. Okay. Introduction given because MyOB software is some fields or some windows are self-explanatory. They are telling you what you have to do. Okay. We'll read this. The new company file assistant is designed to get you up and running in minutes. Right. Once you learn this process, it will take only 1 or 2 minutes for you to create a company. Okay. Just because you are new to the software, you will be wondering about each and every field. But after learning this process, it will take only 2 minutes for you to create a company file. So to create company file, all you have to do is simply tell us about your company, answer a few questions regarding your accounting year, and choose your accounts list. For more detailed information, click help, which is located in the bottom left-hand corner. All right. Then click next button to continue. Okay. So for company creation, what you have to do is give some information about your company. Then the software will create the company file for you. Okay. After reading that, you can click on the next button. Right. These are the information you have to enter. The first field is the serial number, right? You don't have a serial number because serial number is given when you purchase the software, right? If you purchase this software for commercial purpose, you will be given a serial number. So once you enter that, any company file you create through that will be permanent, right? But unfortunately, we can't afford that much of cost to buy license for every student. Therefore, we are skipping that part. Then the company file is created under non-serial numbers, I mean under non-licensed basis, is considered as a student version. Student version that is created for learning purpose, and the company file will remain only for 90 days. Right? You can work with the software or you can work with the software for any time, but you can work with that particular company file for 90 days under the student version. Right? So we'll skip that serial number and now we are going to enter the company name, ABN, address, phone number, fax, email address, and all that information we have to enter, right? To facilitate you with that information, under the case study, right, in the next page, some very specific details were given, right? That's why I told you they are very highly technical details. You can refer it later, right? This information guides you how to create the company file or how to fill that form. Look at the first field, you have to fill company name. Okay, what is the company name you have to enter? SAB Cricket Club, SAB Cricket Private Limited. Okay, now we will enter that. SAB Cricket Private Limited. Okay, and then ABN. What is the meaning of ABN? Very good. ABN, the meaning is Australian Business Registration Number because this is an Australian software. Without a registration number, you can't create the accounts. Okay. Therefore, even though we are not having Australian registration numbers, we have to give a number. Okay. Therefore, I have given here a fake number. It's just a hypothetical number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and press tab key. When you press tab key, do you get this notice? Right. What is the notice? When you are entering the registration number, it should be in two formats. Either of these two formats, you have to have your number in, right? You can see here, 2 digits first, and then another three digits, and another 3 digits, or it can be 3 sets of 3 digits, right? Or else it can be 2 digits and another 2 sets of 3 digits, right? There are 3 types of formats. Either of these format will have to be followed, but our number is not having a problem, but they remind us it should be in such a format, right? You can click on OK button, then you can see your registration number is formatted accordingly, right? It's formatted accordingly, 2, 3, 3, and another 2, which is a bit different than the formats they have given, but it is reformatted, right? It is reformatted by the software, right? There's another learning here. Let's say in the examination, even if you are not given any registration number for a company, right? Because it's going to be a case study or a story in the exam. Okay. If let's say you are not given separately an ABN, you are supposed to enter a fake ABN, any number, right? Including these characters to proceed. Without that number, you can't anyway proceed, right? Therefore, you have to remember, check in the paper whether the ABN is clearly given. If it is not including, or if it's not indicating any ABN or any registration number, you have to enter a hypothetical number as an ABN under this format, right? Because without that, you can't proceed. And then the address, okay? In the address field, number 236/3D, 236/3D, and then Templeton Road. With the enter button, you can go to the next line, right? Templeton Road and Colombo 7. Colombo 7. Okay. And then you can enter the phone number 0112-635-583. 635-583. And the fax number 0112-635-584. Right. Under the email address, it mentions it's not required, but we can enter an email address because it's not compulsory, right? Email address is not compulsory, but in any case, if it's given in the case, you can enter that email address. Just shall we enter an email address called sabcricket@gmail? sabcricket@gmail.com. I'm just entering a hypothetical email address for you to just learn how to fill the entire form. All right. Okay. Now, are we doing any technically difficult work with the software? No, we are just providing some basic information to a form. We are just filling a form, right? That's what Mayomi said initially. You are supposed to answer some questions that I'm asking. So I will create the company file for you, right? So after filling this information, you can click on the next button, right? Click on the next button. Are you all okay with this? Up now? Are you okay? Right. Click on the next button. Now this is a very, very important step. Right? This is very, very important step for the accountant. Why it is important for the accountant? This is going to set up your financial year. Okay, the financial year is very important for the accountant. There are two types of financial years: January to December and April to March. Right. So, in this company, they were ready to start their operations by the March 2023. If you can remember the case, right? By March 2023, they were ready to start their business. Now, let me go to this information. Here, current financial year. They are saying a current financial year. The information about the current financial year is the financial year is a 12-month time frame used to define your accounting year. It does not have to match the calendar year, right? Calendar year is January to December. It doesn't have to be the same always. What is your financial year, right? So there's a field to fill called current financial year. Okay. Now in this case, they are saying current financial year is 2024, right? According to our company, we are ready to start the business on by March 2023. Okay. Now we are going to, and then we can just assume our financial year is going to be somewhere between April to March, not January to December. It is not right to start the financial year, right? We'll assume it's going to be April to March. Then, what is the meaning of this current financial year? Right? Being 2024, our financial year is April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024, right? Then the current financial year becoming 2024, right? The meaning is current financial year is the year in which the last month of my financial year is okay. Understood? In any year where my last month of the financial year is located, that is the current financial year, right? Since this financial year is 2023-2024, my current financial year is 2024, right? If my financial year spans from 2024 to 2025, then my current financial year is 2025. Understood? Right. Then it's 2024. 2024. These are tricky points. Okay. These are tricky points, and because the problem is in the examination, it will not be directly given. Okay, your current financial year is 2024. It will not be given. Since you all are beginners now today, it's given. But end of another 14 sessions, you all are not beginners of Mayuri. You all are masters of Mayuri. You are experts. For experts, all this baby stuff will not be given. Like 2024, 2023, all this not be used. They will just give a hint about the financial year. Then you have to decide what is the number you have to enter to this field. Understood? Right. And then when does your current financial year end? That we know. We can assume, right? March 31st, because we agreed that it's going to be April to March financial year. And then another important month is the conversion month, right? Conversion month is the month from which, clearly listen to that, month from which you start entering transactions, right? Conversion month is the month from which you start to enter transactions. Why am I stressing to so much on these definitions, this particular information? You have an online quiz in another few weeks, right? Few weeks means you have enough weeks. After like 8 weeks, I said. After 8 weeks, you will have an online quiz. That online quiz contains questions like this. What is the meaning of the conversion month? 4 answers will be given. If you know what it is, you can just, if you don't know the answer, again, still you can do tick to the correct answer. And also there was a trick we used to do when we were doing MCQs, I mean like 14, 15 years back. That is, we select the longest answer. So you can get at least a C pass for the quiz. But with this modern content and all that, even that method doesn't work because sometimes the accurate one is the shortest answer. Right? Just kidding, but if you know this technicality, if you know how to create the company file, you should obviously know what is the meaning of conversion month. Then you can easily answer those MCQs or the questions, right? That's why I'm just highlighting. When you're learning this carefully, you can learn. And also, even though it's a computer-based learning, it's not a problem of writing your own notes. You can take pen and paper, you can write down notes, some path, the path of creating of the company file, and what are the information you are supposed to fill in different fields and different steps for how we are going to follow. You don't have to write lengthy notes like in a theoretical class, right? You don't have to have half page written for how to create a company file. Just a matter of writing the steps, which arrows, let's say, under the company information, you enter the company information and click next. That's it. Put an arrow and next. That's it. That is the note, right? In the next step, under the current financial year, you can just write a small note on what is the meaning of current financial year, so you don't miss it out, right? Otherwise, what happens is you will remember all this, right? Right. In another, let's say, at 6 o'clock the class ends, right? By 6:10 you will forget 90% of it. It's very technical, right? Next step. You can remember when you are doing in the class, but by 6:10 you will forget 90% of it. That is natural. That is proven by research. You'll remember only 10% you learn in a 3-hour class, right? Then you will have to. It's better to take notes down, just the path, right? Not a detailed note, but just the path is better to write down. Okay. Right. Then the conversion month. What is supposed to be our conversion month according to our plan? We are starting to enter transactions from April 2023. 2023, April is going to be our starting month of the transactions. So we will select April. Okay. Then number of accounting periods. How many months do we have for an year? Are you sure? How many months do we have for an year? Well, some are not sure. Some are not sure now. Sure, right? But here, click the drop down. Click the drop down menu. You are given two options. You are given 30 or 12. Right? The meaning is, in the 13-month option, you are given an additional month to do adjustments. After completing 12 months, if you want to do adjustments, your account list will be, or your account set will be open for another month to finish the adjustments. Right? Thereafter, you can log the period. So one can go and do adjustments for the past data thereafter, right? So in our case, we are not going to go for 12 months. We are not going to enter transactions for 12 months. Therefore, 12-month period will be enough for us, right? But in a real company, right, if you plan to continue this for a number of years, it's okay to have 13 months or additional 1 month to make adjustments, right? So that is the question asking there, right? But for our learning purpose, 12 months is enough. We will keep it and go to the next step, right? Click on the next. You see, there's a confirmation step for this because that selection is that much important. Okay. After creating this company file, you will be able to change the company name. You will be able to change the company address, right? You will be able to change the telephone number, email address, right? Because they can change really. In a practical company, they can change. You can change your location. You can change your building, right? So SAP campus was in here in this building, but now they have two addresses here in front of us, right? In a business, your location may change. So with that, your telephone numbers may change. Your email address can change, right? But there is one thing that cannot be changed after creating it. That is the first financial year, right? After 3 years, can you change the starting financial year? If you start a business today, that cannot be changed, right? That's why you are given another confirmation option. to check and confirm whether your selected period and the starting dates are okay. Right? Look at this. Your financial year is April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024 is correct. And you have selected 12 accounting periods financial year, right? Your conversion month is April 1st, 2023. Okay. You will not be able to enter any transaction before this day. That is why we said it's the starting month of your transaction. Right. If you are okay with that information, you can proceed. But if you are not sure, if there's any problem with this information, you are given a second chance to go back and alter this page. Okay, that is why this is important. And you can click the next button because the information is accurate. Now we are going to build our accounts list. Right? For the accountant, this is the most important thing. The accounts list. Whatever the transactions you record, whatever the things you do, it will update this account list. Right? You are given 3 options to select the accounts list. Look at the first option. I would like to start with one of the lists provided by MyOB Accounting. Right? That means you are going to take an account list given by MyOB. Number 2, I would like to import a list of accounts provided by my accountant after I am done creating my company file. Right? So I'll just create the company file without an account list. Then I will ask from my accountant to import an account list. That is the idea. Number 3, I would like to build my own account list once I begin using MyOB. That means from the beginning, I'm going to build my account list. One by one, I'm going to create. What is your suggestion? What is the option? We have the choice. 1, 2, 3, any option we can select. Technically, we can select any option. What is your choice? Third one. Okay. Any other choice? Hands up those who say third one, third option. We will create from the 0. From one account by account, we are going to create. Yeah, very good. You all are not lazy, right? You are going to create every account from the beginning. Very good. Any other different answers? Like half of the class is ready to create from the beginning. Other half? Any other different? Those who say I would like to start with the list given by MyOB by the software. Okay, there are a few. In your hand, there are 3 joints here. This is called shoulder, this is called elbow, and this is called wrist. All 3 are moving usually. You can raise your hand like this. Only 1, 2, a very few. Those who say the second option is the right option. Very few. Okay, right? Good. Good. I respect your attitude. You want to clear from the beginning everything, right? But let me explain what is the consequence because you all have not experienced the consequence. That's why. When you go with number 3, your most preferred option, right? When you go with number 3 option, you will have to create each and every account from the cash account to the bank account and everything from the beginning. And then you have a serious work for creating links between these accounts. Right? It is not impossible. You can do it, but it's a serious work that you have to link each and every account to every function from every corner. Right? So it's going to take like 20-30 hours to do that account set development process. Okay. So that is practically difficult. It's viable, but practically difficult. Right? Then if you choose the second option, right? For you to use the second option, you have to have an existing account list. Right? To import an account list, you have to have an existing account list. That option is suitable if you are transforming, let's say you are starting another business unit of a same business. So you can import the same account list and import to the new business unit if both the units are operating in the same way. Right? So you have to have a created account list to be exported and then import to this. But here we don't have any account list to export, right? We don't have any account list in our hand. Therefore, you can't anyway go with the second option. Then the option I recommend is, and least preferred option by you, the first option, I'm going to take an account list provided by my UOB, right? And I respect your idea because you didn't know that even though I'm taking that account list by the company, by the my UOB software, I have an option to customize, right? I have an option to customize it to the industry and the business type. Even after customizing that, I have an option to customize each and every account, right? So that is more viable, right? That is more practical option because we have very limited time to learn MyOB, right? Under that, you will learn everything like how to create a new account, how to modify an account, how to delete account, all that you will learn. But creating from the beginning everything is pretty difficult. It takes time, right? Therefore, we will go with the first option. I would like to start with one of the lists provided by my UB account. Remember that option because even at the examination, you have to go in that option. Okay, you have to select that option. Go to the next step. Right, as I promised, now you can customize your account list according to the industry and the business type. Okay, according to the industry and the business type, you are going to customize the account list. There are two options you have to select. First is the industry classification. Second one is the type of business. Okay. Under industry classification, you have a drop-down menu, right? This small arrow is known as a drop-down arrow. When you click on that drop-down arrow, it is the drop-down menu you get. Okay. So it contains broad business classifications, broad industries classification. What is the industry you will prefer for this particular business? Now you are the accountant of this business. Huh? Now you know the business. What is their industry? What is their product? What is your preference? I'm pretty sure it's not agriculture. You're not going to do a farming like in the ground. It's not manufacturing also. You are not going to buy raw material and manufacture something. And you have a retail component because you are going to buy and sell cricket equipment, bats and all. And also you have a service component as well if you are going to provide some services. And then others all, if you can't find any suitable industry only, you have to go for other and all that. All is very dangerous, right? All is very dangerous. Let's say there are 10,000 accounts in the entire database, you will get all 10,000 accounts in your accounts. So it's very messy. You can't work with that, right? So you have to restrict your company to a particular industry. Then our problem is, or our doubt is between the service and retail, right? So let me explain the nature of these two industry classifications, so you will understand. If you select service, your accounts list will be highly customized to a service industry, right? Then some of the components or some of the accounts related to buying and selling will be missing in that account list, right? Then you will have to create all these accounts from the beginning. If the software believes you are going to be in a highly service industry. But if you select retail industry, it will contain buying and selling related accounts, right? Buying and selling related accounts. At the same time, in the retail industry, you will have services, usually, right? In retail industry, you will find some services, usually. Therefore, better choice is to go with the retail industry, right? If you have both retail and service components in your business. If it is purely a service, like let's say like a saloon or something, let's say like But it's a pure service. But it's a pure service. No any retail part involved. Maybe healthcare or something, right? Your service-based industry, you can go with service, right? But if you have any retail component, buying and selling components, it's always better to go with the retail. Okay, retail industry. So I'm selecting retail as the industry classification, and then right, and then again you have further customization option to the very specific business type, right? Click on this drop down arrow and see what is the suitable specific business type. You have number of business types, right? You have bakery, bicycle dealer, board dealer, bookstore, bridal shop, so many stuff, right? Right. When you go down this list or the menu, you will find sporting goods dealer, right? A specific business type called sporting goods dealer, which is suitable for this type of a business because we are a sporting goods dealer and we are providing some services as well, right? So let's select the sporting goods dealer, use this business types. Okay. Now, accordingly, your account list here, this is sample account list according to your selection. It is selected now. You have a print option, right? You have a print option to take a printout of your accounts list and to monitor. Okay, because accountants are always willing to have a manual printed document and check with a pen. Right? That is in their blood. But since your computers are not connected to printers, you can't do that now. You have that option if you want. Then if you're comfortable with the accounts list, you can click on the next button. Make sure industry classification is selected as retail and type of business is selected as sporting goods dealer. All right. These two have to be selected. Click next button. Right. This is a very important step, even important than or more important than the financial year setting. Right? I told you setting the exact financial year is the most important thing, right? More than that, this is important. There are students in my history, I mean, in other universities, even in this campus, sub-campus, in your previous batches, they have faced troubles and also they have lost their company file at the examination because they missed this step, right? Just look at this. This is basically the location where you save the company file, right? This is the location where you save the company file. So you can see here, in the C drive under MyOB17, this MIO file is saved, right? That means in the program file, this is going to be saved, not in a easily accessible place, right? You have to change this to a location where you can easily find the company file, right? Because what happens is some students, when they are practicing in this lab, they are just creating company files and saving in this place. So there are so many files in this program files. Okay. At the examination, if you don't select the exact location, identifiable location for the company file to submit to the examiner, you won't be able to find the company file, right? It is like you wrote all your answers in the answer script and you lost it. It's very much similar to that scenario. So you don't have anything to submit, right? Therefore, this is a very important step. And always remember, you have to click on this change button, right? Click on this change button, right? Go to the desktop. From this side, you have to select the desktop, right? On the desktop, now I'm going to create a folder, right? Because I want to store my company file in an identifiable place. Okay. So I'm creating, right click, new folder, right? Create a new folder named with maybe your student number, right? Student number is easy to identify, you understand. Since I don't have a student number, I will enter it as 111. You will have your student number. You can create this folder with your student number. Okay. Make sure you are creating this folder on the desktop. Right? On the desktop. All right. Okay. Then open that folder. You created this folder on the desktop with your student number, right? Then open that folder. Now here in this address bar on the top of that window, you can see on the desktop inside the 111 or you are on folder, we are going to save this company file. Okay. All right. Now the name of the file is SAP Cricket Private Limited. In front of that, again, I want to include your student number. Right? Include your student number in front of the company file name. Then you can easily identify whether that is your company file or not. Because there will be so many SAP Cricket Private Limited company files in these computers. Right? And then next day you will open a wrong company file. Then your adjustments will be saved in the wrong company file. Okay. Rename your company file including your student number in front of the company name. Okay. Then you can see here, save as type, right? Save as type is selected as .myo, MYOB. That is the exact type of the company file. Always remember, even after creating this company file, the correct company file format is .myo. .myo is the correct company file format. Okay, because with this company name, there will be another supporting file created called BOX. Right? Some students mistakenly upload that BOX file to the submission Dropbox, but that doesn't have any data. Okay. Therefore, .myo is the company file correct format. Right? Now let's click on the save button. Right? If you selected everything properly, you can click on save button. Now you can see it's under C user IT lab and desktop. On the desktop, there is a folder called 111 in my case. And inside that, I'm going to save the company file. So path is very clear now. Okay. If you are sure about that path, then you can click on the next button. Okay. If you are sure that is the recognized path, and you can click on the next button. Congratulations, you have created the company file. Okay, you have created the company file. Good, very good. Right? Yeah. Of course, it's something to celebrate actually, because if you make any mistake in any of these steps, right, your entire life is in a difficulty, right? Therefore, actually, it's a point to celebrate. So now you are given, okay, right? Now you have created the company file. Now you have two options. To start with, either the setup assistant or directly go to the command center. Okay. If once you become a master of this software, once you become an expert of this software, you can go to the setup assistant and set up all the background of the software immediately after creating the company file, right? But since we are like beginners now, we will directly go to the command center, that is to the interface of the software, right? And we will later learn how to customize one by one these setup assistants. Okay, so let's go with the command center. Okay. This is the interface of this software, right? You can either maximize, if you want, you can maximize this window, right? With this small button, you can maximize this window if you want. This is the interface of MyOB. Even though it is not looking so modern or 3D type, it is doing the right accounting process. Okay. Therefore, you have to believe in the software, it's doing its work. Right. Now in this interface, just after this discussion, we'll take a small break. In this interface, there are certain aspects you have to understand, right? So this top part, where the MyOB accounting, SAB Cricket Private Limited, all this is included. That is called title bar. Okay, that is called title bar. And then here, file, edit, list, all these are known as tabs. Okay, you can't. I don't know how to increase the volume. There's no volume change. Now it's okay. Right? So, okay, these are called tabs, right? After the title bar, you have tabs, and then you have some icons here. Can you see this? Account, banking, sales, time billing, all these? These are known as command center buttons, right? These are known as command center buttons. When you click on the command center button, you are entering into the command center, right? Now, for example, when you click the accounts command center button, you go to the accounts command center, right? Under the accounts command center, this area is known as the flowchart area. This area, white color area, is known as the flowchart area. The reason is there is a flowchart actually. You can see with arrows, it shows you the accounting process happening in that command center, right? Now, for example, you have the accounts list. Then in the accounts list, what you are doing, you are recording the transaction, recording journal entry. That is why this arrow is downwards, right? Once you record the journal entry, that will be recorded in the transaction journal. That is why you have this arrow. So like that, all these arrows are drawn logically, right? It shows the flow chart of the accounting process, right? So this area is known as the flow chart area of the command center. So you have accounts command center, banking command center, sales command center, likewise. Under each of those command centers, you have the flowchart area. And at the bottom, you can see there are 4 tools, right? 4 tools, each are having a drop-down menu, right? Those are known as option tools. Option tools, right? So those option tools are having drop-down menus. They will contain some options you can use, right? So that is about the interface, the technical words we are using. Because once you start working with the software, we will start, okay, today we are going to discuss the accounts command center. So you can't be wondering what is the command center, what is the accounts command center. Okay. And also these are some definitions that are tested in the quiz and a quiz especially, right? So you will be given a screenshot of this and they will ask with an arrow how this area is called. Right? And you should know this is the flowchart area. Like that. Okay. Right. So you have created the company file and you know what are the basic areas of the software. Now we will take a small break. Okay. We'll take, wait. We'll take a small break of 15 minutes. After the break, we will learn how to create some security preferences, including different user profiles, because all cannot access the same way. And then we will see how to create backups. In case of you lose the company file, how to create a backup and store somewhere, right? And also remember, still you don't know how to close the company file. You don't have that exit button, right? You have to keep the computers like this. Don't close anything. we will learn how to close the company file with write backups and all. Right. Shall we mark the attendance and go? Okay. Right now the time is 4:40. Right. Before 5 o'clock you have to come. 5:55. Sorry, 4:55. 4:55. 4:55. By 4:55 please come. After 5:55 you can go home.
That's work today. But Monday back to our country, and
Okay, can we start now? Can we? Right, right. Now, we have created the company file. Okay, we have created the company file and we got to know what are the basic components in the interface, right? But we still have not closed the company file and tried to reopen this company file, right? So, the easiest way of closing the company file is in the file tab. Just look at this, right? In the file tab, there is a button called exit. That is one way of closing your company file. Or else, in this easiest button is this close button of on top right hand corner. In any window you will have usually, but this close button is also working to close your company file. We'll use either way. Let me click on the close button. Then you will get a pop-up message, right? We'll get a pop-up message. What is that? The company file has never been backed up, right? Are you going to take a backup? Okay. So for the moment, we are not going to take any backup because we don't have any data. Just the company file creation. So we are not going to take any backup. Click on no button. Then you can see the company file or the software is closed, right? After closing the software, I want you to go to the folder where you saved your company file. Right. On my desktop, I have a folder created in my student number. Okay. Open that folder and see inside that folder you have two files. Okay. Inside that folder, you have two files. Out of these two files, there is one file called BOX file. Can you see that? Certificate Private Limited .box. Then the other company file, other file, here it does not have the .myo in the name, but the file type is known as my myo, right? Myo is the file type here. If you have it in the name itself, that is okay. But if it is not in the name, at least in the under the type, it should be selected as myo. So out of these two files, your correct company file is myo file, right? So after working, right? Okay, are you all good? Are you all good? Right? Then this is the company file. You have to take as a backup, right? And bring to the next class. You can use any method. Maybe you can send an email to yourself, right? Attach this company file and you can send an email to yourself, or maybe you can upload it to your Dropbox or not the Dropbox, the Google Drive, right? Whatever the cloud platform you have, I don't think you can use a pen drive to collect this. It's not a good practice. Do you have access to a common drive for your name? So if you have that option, even you can store it in that drive, but don't keep the company file in the desktop in this computer because this is a common computer. So anyone can use and modify. I mean, someone can delete that file. You have to take a backup of this MYO file and bring to the next week. Now don't take the backup. Now don't take the company file because we are going to still work on it. That is how you can. That is the company file. Okay. Right. Now, how to open the app? Now we have closed the. Okay. Are we listening? Come on. We'll focus on this. Huh? Right. Now, after closing the company file, to open the company file again, let's say you came the next week, so you can't create a new company again. Okay, you are going to work with the same company. Then you again open the software. You have to now go with the open option, right? Open button, click on that open button. And then in the desktop, you can go to the relevant folder. Inside that, you will find this MYO file. Okay, this MYO file. Then select that file and click on the open button, right? Then you are getting an administrator login detail, right? No password because we have not entered any password. Administrator, we will keep it as without a password, right? Then click OK. Then you are getting this activation option. In this activation option, okay, in this activation option, you are having 4 options, right? Out of the 4 options, you have to always go with the third option. I want to activate my company file later because you can read it carefully. Test drives or student versions, right? Student version users should select this option. 90 days remaining. 90 days remaining means you are given 90 days to practice because it's a student version you are selecting, right? So always select that option. And when tomorrow, if you open this company file, it will show you 89 days remaining, 88 days remaining, like that. It's counting down. Okay. So select that option and click on continue, right? You have 90 days left to activate your company. Okay. Now again, it's asking for data verification at the beginning. Okay. Select no because there is no data to verify. We have not entered any data yet. Okay. To this message, you can click no. Right. Now you have the same company file you created. Okay. Right. Now, in MyOB, to set up certain processes according to your willingness, right? According to your convenience, there is an option called setting preference, right? The objective of setting preferences is making sure or arranging the company file according to your preference, right? So the path to go to those preferences is go to the setup tab, right? And then select preferences, right? These paths, I think it's better to take a note, right? Setting now topic, you can write a small topic called setting preferences, right? Path is setup preference. That's it. It's true that the software is computerized, but your brain is not a computer. Therefore, write down some note. You will forget. Right? That is the path. Okay. Now set up preferences. When you select the preferences, there are number of tabs. Okay. There are several tabs for you to set preferences. we will be setting up the relevant preference when we are touching the relevant command center, right? We are not going to set all the preferences today because some preferences are required when you are going to work with a particular command center, right? Therefore, today we will just go to the security preferences because immediately after creating the company file, what we have to make sure is company file is secured or security is maintained, right? Then look at the given preferences here. First preference is transactions can't be changed, they must be reversed, right? If you select that, if you tick in front of that checkbox, every transaction, any transaction you record cannot be edited, right? What you can do is you will have to enter a reversal entry, right? That is a good preference for a real company. But since you all are learning, right? In every transaction, there is a chance that you will make mistakes, right? Therefore, for learning purpose, it's not a very good preference to select. Therefore, we will leave it blank, right? But in the real company situation, it is a good preference to select because any accounting entry should not be altered later, right? No one should have the option to change the entry, but just keep a reversal entry, double entry. Then you know mistake happened, you correct the correction entry, right? But here we will leave it open, okay? And then lock period disallow entries prior to. We will not manually lock the period prior to that. Anyway, that period is locked because your conversion month is 4th. Therefore, prior to that, anyway, you are not allowed to enter any transaction because this is the first financial year of our company, right? Therefore, that option doesn't make any sense for this particular scenario. Okay. And then prompt for data backup when closing. Every time when you close the company file, whether that prompt you receive to backup data, you want to see that, right? Do you want to see that? Always. Don't have to create backups every day, right? If you are sure that everything is properly recorded in your company file, that company file is enough for you to start the work next week, right? Always creating a backup means an additional company file you are creating somewhere. So that should not be done every day, every time you open and close the company, right? Okay, no any problem, right? Oh, no. Until the screen is there and you can hear my voice, we'll continue the lecture. Don't worry about others. When the time comes, we don't know what happened. Right? Then prompt for data backup when closing, we'll close deselect it, right? Then it's asking you, are you ready to take that risk? Because without taking backups, how you are going to keep the company file safe? So I will select, I use my own backup procedures, right? That means you don't remind me all the time. I know when to backup. That is the message I'm giving. I use my own backup. Then prompt for, okay. All right. Prompt for session reports. Third one, fourth one, prompt for session report when closing. That is what it required us to create a session report every time when we close the company file. All the transactions we recorded today will be coming as a report, which is important for a real company. But again, I'm saying for learning purpose, it will not be effective to take that session report all the time, right? So again, I'm deselecting it, right? And then the next option is warn before recording post-dated transactions, right? For post-dated transactions are the transactions that are old transactions, right? Prior to the accounting period. If you are recording it, we want to have a warning so that shows you this transaction is not within your accounting period. So that will give us the warning, but having that warning doesn't block it. after the warning, if we believe it's okay, we can skip the warning and then record it. But that warning is important, right? That we don't miss out the time period, right? Therefore, we'll keep that warning. We'll select it. Check data file for errors before the backup process. That is important. I want you to select that because before taking a backup of the company, we have to make sure company file is accurate and complete. If the company file contains the errors in data, there is no point of taking a backup of it because the backup is the error file, right? Therefore, checking the company file for errors before taking a backup is important. Therefore, I am selecting it, right? And then prompt for data verification when opening, that I will deselect for my convenience. Okay, because even if it's a problem in the company file, in our learning company file, we can alter it later. For a real company, if there is a data error when opening the company file, that is important. That notice is important, right? But for our learning purpose, it is a disturbance, unnecessary disturbance. All the time you are getting pop-up message, right? Therefore, I am again removing it. I prefer to use automated online company file confirmation. No, that is not relevant for us because we are not going to work with the online platform of this. And use audit trail tracking. In that, for every transaction you record, there will be an audit trail being recorded. For audit purpose, that is important, but for our learning purpose, we will not select it because I am basically removing unnecessary burdens that are not relevant for our main accounting procedure, right? Our objective is to learn how you keep accounts with the support of the software, right? Therefore, some additional stuff I am going to remove. And those are the preferences I have selected. Want before recording post-later transactions and check data file for errors before the backup process. Okay. I think it's UPS, no?
Yes.
Right. And then, as I told you, when you were logging into this company file, or when you were opening this company file, you opened the company file as the administrator without a password, right? Usually, administrator won't be able to log in without a password. Administrator is the most powerful person who has access to everything. Okay, usually you have to keep a password, but the problem is if you give a password, right? You will forget your passwords next week, and next week I will have to give you new password. So I can't do anything for your password, right? Therefore, we will keep the administrator free always, right? Because the purpose is learning. But we have to learn. If it's a real company, you will have different users, multiple users of this company file. And for those users, we have to give a password, and then we can restrict certain areas for them to access. Right? Now we are going to see how to create that. Here you will have a button. You are having a button called user IDs. Can you see? At the bottom, you have a button called user IDs. Right? Click on that button. Right? Click on that button. User IDs button. Right? Here, this button. Right? I'm talking about this button. User IDs button. Click on that. And here you can see it's in this table, you have user IDs on the left side and allowed or not allowed areas on the right side. Okay. Here you don't have any user IDs because you have only the administrator. Okay. Now, in the bottom, you can see new, edit, delete, cancel. Okay. There are some buttons, right? Now we are going to create a new user and assign him or block certain functions to that user, right? Click on this new button. You have to give a user ID. I want you to give it as user USER1. User1 as the user ID. Right. This is a new user we are going to create. You can write anything, right? You can write it, maybe his name, maybe his username, whatever it is you can write. But for the convenience or consistency, I'm going to enter this, right? User1. And then give a password as 123. password 123. I'm giving an easy password because even if you forget the password, I will remember the password. Okay, 123, and then confirm the password again 123. Okay, then copy restrictions. This option can be used if you have already some other users who are given the same restrictions, right? But this is the first user we are creating. Therefore, we don't have any other users to copy from. All right. Then we will click on OK after entering the user ID, password, and confirm the same password. Click on OK. Now you can see under user IDs, this user is appearing. User ID 1. Now, for this user, all these functions are available to access. You can access any of these functions, right? Now let's say for this user, I want to restrict the banking functions, right? Banking info related information, this user should not be accessing, right? Then under banking, you can see there are different options, spend money, receive money, all that. In front of all these functions, when you click, you can see a cross mark is appearing. Just click in front of any function, right? This type of individual functions you can block to this user, okay? Or else you can block the entire function by clicking in front of this banking. See, when you click on in front of the heading, you can see entire function is blocked, right? Then again, let's say sales and receivables function, we have to block from this user, right? And what else? And even the purchase and payables. Purchase and payables, sales, right? And banking. All these areas are blocked to this user. So this user can just log into the accounts command center and do some account related work on it, right? He doesn't have anything to do with banking, any payables, all that, right? And then click OK. Okay, click on the OK button. All right. Did you click on the OK button? Again, if you go to the user IDs, now you can see the user number 1 and his restrictions. Okay. Again, if you go to the user IDs, I'm showing the same thing. I'm showing the same thing, right? Go to the user IDs, you can see the user 1 and some areas being restricted to that user. Clear? Now, I want you to click OK to these preferences and close the company file. Close this company file. Right? Now, you didn't get any prompt. Now you didn't get any prompt to data backup. Power supply is disconnected. Update. Okay. Right. Now we have in our company files, now we have a user, right? Let's say you recruited a small, let's say an assistant accountant. He is given a new login and with some restrictions. Now you ask your assistant accountant to open the company files. Listen, you are the accountant, no? You are the accountant of this company. Then you ask the assistant accountant to go and open the company file. Okay, he will open the software. Open. Right? You know how to open the company file now, right? Select this. Now here, even though we don't have password to administrator, usually administrator is having the strongest password, right? Now here under the user ID, because you are not the accountant, now you are the assistant accountant. You are entering that user ID, user one. User one. Okay. And then you are giving the password 123. Is your password. Okay. Now you are logging in as user one, not as the administrator. Clear? User one, password is 123. Click OK. Again, select the third option of the student version. And then continue. Click OK. No verification required. Right. All right. Now you have accessed the company file. You have accessed the MyOB company as the user one, not as the administrator. Okay. Now I want you to go to the banking command center. Right. I want you to go to the banking command center and try to select any of, let's say, spend money. Now you are going to record a spend money transaction, or you are going to record a expense, right? When you click on that, what is the notification you get? Your user ID doesn't allow access to this window, right? That is the restrictions available for different users, right? Maybe for the chief accountant, you are allowed to spend money, but for the assistant accountant, you are not allowing to spend money, right? This is just an example. So under the purchases also, enter purchase, you can't do it, right? When you go to the purchase command center, just click on this enter purchase option. You are not allowed. You can't make purchases, right? This is how, because this is accounting, the entire company's accounting record, right? So one user will not be given access to everything, right? Different users will be given access to different functions. Certain functions will be restricted to certain users, right? Since we are learning and we are the administrator, we will have access to everything. Okay, but in a real company, you have to make use of these. Okay, you have to make use of these security preferences in a real company to make sure people can't do frauds and any unnecessary stuff, right? Now I want you to close the company file again and open as the administrator. No backups, right? Now you should be an expert of opening and closing the company files. You have done it many times. That is also important, right? Open. Now, if it is automatically coming as the administrator, log in as administrator. If it gives you as user one, then type the username as administrator and log in. Okay, log in as the administrator. Third option you have to select 90 days remaining. Okay. Right. Right. Are we good with that? We know how to create the company. Okay. We know how to create different user profiles and we know how to create security preferences. Right. Now, if you know only this about MyOB, if you know only this part in MyOB, what are the things you know? To create a company file and to set up some security preferences. You can score 5 marks in the examination. Right? You came only for one lecture about MyOB. You can score 1 mark, not 1 mark, 5 marks. 5 marks in the examination. Right? And also, once you master this, it will take only 2 to 3 minutes. Right? Since you were learning it from the beginning, it took like 30 minutes. Right? But to create a company file, once you practice it, once you become an expert of it, it will take maximum 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, 5 marks. 5 marks, 5 out of 100. You go to certain shops because you are given 5% discount. So 5% is a good number, right? So that is one learning. Okay. Now we will learn. Okay. Now we will learn how to create a backup. Right? How to create a backup, and in case you lose your data or your original company file, how to restore the backup. Right? This is make sure you follow this process, or you do this only for learning purpose for today only, right? Every week you don't have to do backup process, right? Otherwise, what will happen is once you get to know about this backup process, every week you are creating backups and storing it here and there. Then next week you don't know whether to take whether the backup is the correct file or your original company file is the correct file, right? Unnecessary amount of backups will create a confusion, right? Sometimes even at the examination, after doing all this work, they create a backup and upload the backup. We ask them to upload the company file. This might be simple file and one your file, right? But they sometimes upload, some students upload the backup file. Backup is coming as a zip folder, right? Then again we have to remove that submission and keep the student, just like what happened in the beginning of the lecture. We have to keep those students after the examination. We have to ask them to remove that and upload the original file. It's a big mess, right? Therefore, backing up process is good to know because it's a security feature. But every day on your practice, you don't have to create backups. Okay, take the company file with you and bring it next week. That's it. All right. And another important feature about MyUP, in Excel, in Excel, after working with so many data, if you forget to save the application, if suddenly electricity goes or something happens, you will lose everything, right? Most of the stuff. Right now now the software has some automatic backup process, but still you will lose some amount of data, right? But in MyUP, after every action, the data is automatically saved, right? That is why under file tab, you don't have a button called save, option called save. There is no button called save. In many applications, you have save button, save option. But here there's nothing called save. Automatically, every entry is saved when you go to the next step. The prior step is saved. Okay. Therefore, you don't have to worry about the company file data you have entered, but you have to make sure company file is properly backed up. Right. Now I will show you how to create the backup. If you are writing the path down, you can write down file backup. Very simple. File tab, under file tab, you have an option called backup. Right. Right. Click on backup. Then you will get this window and you have to select backup all data. Right. Backup all data because all the data we want to have. And then in the second options set, you have check company file for errors, right? Because we want to check company file for errors before taking the backup. Otherwise, we are backing up a erroneous file. It's no in use, right? Then click on continue button. Now it has checked the company file for errors, right? To check for errors, there is no data actually, right? There is no errors and also there is no data to check. Therefore, we don't have to worry about the accuracy at this moment. But once you enter so many transactions, system will check all the data and check the accuracy of the data, right? Then you can click OK. And now your backup is created, right? Backup is created. Now you have to select the place to store the backup. All right. Now on the desktop, okay, on the desktop, in another folder, right? In another folder. Here I'm selecting another folder. This is also a folder I have created. right? So here I am selecting another folder, a non-folder, and I am going to save the backup. Now the file name of the backup file name is named as myob 1018. What is the meaning of that number? Okay. Yes, today's date. Why it is giving it as the date? Because every day when you take backup, you should be able to identify when is the latest backup. Right? What is the latest backup you have? Right? Therefore, date is given. Even if you want to change that with any code or something, you can rename that as well. No any restriction on that. And save as type, you can see backup is saved as a zip file. Right? It's saved as a zip file. Now you can click on save button. You can see the entire company file is backed up into that particular place, right? So let me go and show you where the backup is stored, right? So I'm going to folders and on the desktop, this is the folder I created the backup or I stored the backup in. Here I can see this backup. Okay, this is the backup file I have created. Right? Usually, right, in your practice, you have to store the backup in a completely different location. Now, for example, if you are keeping the original company file in the desktop computer, you have to keep the backup in Google Drive or somewhere in a separate drive. Otherwise, there is no use of keeping the backup, right? Because sometimes some students are keeping both the original company file and the backup in their pen drive, right? And they lose the pen drive sometimes. Okay. Therefore, if you are having the backup should be kept in somewhere. And now, let's say, right? Okay. Now let me. Did you create that backup? Did you all create the backup? Are you sure? Right. Now let's say I lost my company file. Okay. Let's say I lost my company file, and then what I have is the only option I have is this one. This backup file. This is the only option. But it doesn't seem like it doesn't look like a MYO file. Right? It's a zip file that contains all the data inside it, right? Therefore, now we have to restore the backup. This is a backup file. So we have to restore this backup as an NYO file. That is the next procedure. Backup procedure is done now. Now, next procedure is when we need the backup file to be restored. Now we are going to restore it. Okay. So again, the same thing. You have to start with the software, right? Go to MyOB and click on the open button. Then look for the backup file. Look for the backup company file. I have stored it in this folder. Right. When I go into that folder, you can't see that folder, that backup file. Right. The reason is the setup is searching for an NYO file, but that backup file is not an NYO file. That's a zip file, zip folder actually. Then what you can do is here in front of the file name, there is an option to change the file types, right? From that drop down menu, select it as all files, right? When you select all files, you will be able to see the zip folder. Select the zip folder and click on the open button, right? Click on the open button. Now this is the restored backup. So you have to give a place to restore this backup, right? You have to give a location to store this backed up company file. Right? To identify this as the backup file, I am making a change to the name, right? Otherwise, I'll be confused between the original file and this file. So I'm typing as backup 111 SAP Cricket Private Limited as my company file name. Okay. In the same location, I'm going to restore the backup into the same folder 000, the second folder I created. and click on save button. The restored company file is named as backup 111, all that. Okay. Unzipping the backup. Now this is my backup restored company file. Right. So I can open. It's the same, right? It's the same, right? How can I go to, right? Just to confirm whether this is the backup file or the right file I have backed up. Okay. Now, all right. Okay. Did you restore the backup company file? Right. Now, all right. Now, just to check, okay, just to check whether all the information are in order in the backup file, right? I'll show you the path to see company information. Right? You can go and see the company information to make sure this is the right company file and all that. Even in the original file, you can do it. You can go to the setup, right? And then there is an option called company information. Right? Setup tab, go to the company information. When you go to the company information, it will show you the right company information of the original company file. Right? That is why I told you at the beginning, when you look at this wizard, or not the wizard, but the window, you can edit company name, company address, right? Phone numbers, fax numbers, emails, even the ABN you can change. Right? Here you can see all these are editable. Here you can make changes to the company name, address, phone number, email, all this you can change if you want. Right? But here at the bottom you can see the conversion month you can't change. Right? Conversion month you can't change. Current financial year you can't change. Okay. The accounting period or the last month of the financial year, those financial period related information you can't change. Okay. That's why you have to carefully select that. Okay. Now, again, you can close this down, close the company file. And I want you to go to the original company file. Right? I want you to open the folder and see the original company file. Okay. And there is another thing I want to teach you from the first day. All right. Here, this backup folder is just an empty folder created when you are taking backup. So I'm just deleting it. These are the two files created in any company file. The MYO file and the BOX file. The BOX file is supporting the MYO file to work, right? MYO file alone is containing all the data, right? MYO file. Here you can see under file type, one is BOX, the other is MYO. So that MYO file is the file you have to take with your email or mobile phone or whatever it is. You have to have it as the company file. That is the company file, right? It's not heavy also. It's 800 kilobytes. It's a very small file, right? And you can keep it anywhere. You can even WhatsApp it to yourself. Then, in case if you mistakenly select this BOX file and if you take it as the backup, next day you can't do anything because BOX file does not contain the data to open the company file. Okay. And also, you have to make sure you are taking this company file or you are copying this to any other device or you are copying it to the drive or whatever. Once the application is closed, once the software is closed, right? MyOB software has to be in the closed position, right? Should be closed before you take this company file as the backup for the next week to work, right? If you keep the software open, right? While the software is open, if you take this file, that may contain some missed information, right? Missing data, right? Let me just show you. You don't have to do it. You can just see that. So this is my company file. Now I am going to open this company file, right? The desktop under 111. This is my company file, right? So I'm going to open this company file. Right. Now my file is open, right? Now let me go back to the same position and here in this folder, do you see 3 temporary files are created? Okay. When my company file is open, so when the software is open, there are some temporary files created to support my working, right? If you take this company file as the backup, maybe to your email or to your WhatsApp, thinking that you can start the next week stuff with that, right? This file may contain some missing data because there are some temporary files taken off, right? And when, yes, okay, right? Because why I'm showing this, sometimes at the examination, if you don't close the software and upload this company file, that company file may be corrupted. There are some corrupted company files we have received because of this problem, right? Therefore, the best thing is to first close the company file, then you will see all those temporary files will be back to the MYO file, right? Then you will have a complete company file without any problem, right? Make sure you do that even before taking the backup every week and even before submitting any assignment after your, right? So that is about the learning we planned for today, right? Hope you are fine with that, right? How to create a company file, how to maintain the security, right? And how to create user profiles, and then how to take the backup and how to restore the backup in case you miss the original company file. Okay. As I told you, every day, every week, don't try to create backups now. Okay. Backup procedure is taught just because you want to know that. Okay. Every day, make sure you maintain your original company file. And then you can take this file to your emails and then bring next week because you are going to start with the same company file next week. Next week, we are going to modify the tax codes and accounts list. So next week, we can't create another company file for that. Okay. In this company file, we are continuing. Okay. Therefore, if there are any students who could not come today, okay, if you get a chance within this week, teach them how to create the company file. It's not a very difficult stuff, right? So teach them how to create the company file and make sure they have the company file with them when they are coming the next. Okay. All right. Anything you want to ask? Right. Right. See, even I am taking that back up because next week I have to start working with this. Okay. Now you see, even I am taking that as the backup. I'm collecting that file to my LMS page. You can't see that. It's for my purposes. Then I can download that next week and start teaching. Right. The same way you have to have that uploaded to your email or WhatsApp or whatever it is, and downloaded next week to start teaching. Okay. And it's a good practice. Like I'm writing what is the level of completion I have done in that company file within brackets. You see here, it's 111. That is my student number. Let's say SAP Cricket Private Limited. Within brackets, I am writing after company creation. So I know what is the level of the completion that I have in this company file. Otherwise, what happens is when every day, every week you are working with the company file, sometimes you will open a very old company file and start working the next step with that, right? So you'll be missing a lot of information in between, right? You have to make sure you are downloading the latest company file from your own backup to start the work next week, right?